building the border wall, drilling for more oil, and putting sanctions on Cuba. Those and more ways Joe Biden is exactly like Donald Trump. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Joe Biden has been president 9 months now, and things are going swimmingly. Okay, maybe it hasn't been the smoothest start, but it's not like he's Donald Trump. Not being Donald Trump was one of Biden's biggest selling points to voters, because America was tired of its leader being a 70-plus-year-old white guy whose mental faculties were constantly called into question, with a history of making racist remarks, and allegations of acting inappropriately around women. Boy, it's a relief we don't have someone like that in office anymore, isn't it? But while it's fun to criticize a president based on his perceived personal flaws, we should really be criticizing presidents based on their policies. During the election, or what he dramatically called the battle for the soul of a nation, Biden explicitly sold himself as the antidote to Trump. The anti-Trump, if you will. And Biden swore up and down that he would not handle a whole host of things the way that Trump did. But that's not exactly what happened. Today, we're going to look at 10 ways President Joe Biden's policies are eerily reminiscent of President Donald Trump's. Starting with number 10. During his campaign, Joe Biden called Trump's border wall racist and xenophobic and said construction on it should be halted. Of course, that was before he said in April he would resume construction. So, Trump's wall was racist, but Biden's isn't? Is it because Biden used more POCs in the construction? You know, panels of color. But more recently, Biden decided to halt construction on the wall. But he did it in the most Trump way possible, by canceling contracts of those working on one of his projects. But don't worry, those contractors are getting paid nearly $2 billion of taxpayer money to sit and watch steel rust in the desert, right in the middle of an illegal immigration crisis. Did I say don't worry? You can have a little worry, as a treat, especially when you see how Biden is responding to this illegal immigration crisis. Number 9. While President Biden once railed at Trump's immigration policies, he's now defending them in court. Immigration activists are frustrated because Biden's Justice Department is defending some of Trump's policies in court, either for expediency or for its own policy objectives. That's awkward. And remember when Vice President Kamala Harris said Trump has pushed policies that's been about putting babies in cages at the border? And she called it a human rights abuse being committed by the United States government? Must have been pretty awkward for her when Biden opened a migrant facility for children only a month after being in office and detained tens of thousands of migrant children in holding facilities at the border. Then again, things have probably been awkward between those two ever since Harris said she believed the women who accused Biden of acting inappropriately. Having an awkward, semi-hostile relationship between the president and vice president? Why does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, just another Trump policy that Biden adopted. Number 8. During a presidential debate, Biden called Trump one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. One reason he gave for this was Trump's suggested travel bans. I think you know where I'm going with this. And I know where you're not going, since Biden implemented his own travel ban due to COVID. And he kept it in place as a result of the Delta variant. He implemented this travel ban to try and protect Americans against an overly sensationalized threat that's been used as a fear tactic to gain political points. Was I describing Trump or Biden just then? The answer to that question is yes. Number 7. At the end of Trump's term, he hit Cuba with sanctions that hurt the communist country's economy. Cuba actually blames these sanctions and the U.S. for the protests that happened there in July. Biden promised to lift these sanctions when in office. Not only did that not happen, but Biden actually imposed new sanctions on Cuba in response to their crackdown on protesters. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. If candidate Biden promised you something, President Biden has done or will do the exact opposite. So, if candidate Biden promised he wouldn't break into your home and eat your ferret, it's probably time to lock your doors and hide Mr. Fuzzy. More after the break. Welcome back. Number 6. A while ago, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joined protesters outside the White House. They called the president a coward and demanded he do more to fight climate change. While that sounds like a headline you'd read during the Trump administration, it actually happened during the Biden administration in June. You might be wondering, why are protesters so angry? See, Biden proposed to spend $36 billion to fight climate change, and he promised to suspend Trump-era drilling for oil in Alaska. Until he didn't. He also campaigned last year on pledges to end new drilling on federal lands. Until he didn't. The Interior Department approved more than 2,100 drilling permits since Biden took office January 20th. In fact, approvals for companies to drill for oil and gas on U.S. public lands are on pace this year to reach their highest level since George W. Bush was president. What would Al Gore think about this? Which, fittingly enough, is the first time anyone's had that thought since Bush was in office. Number 5. President Trump is a big supporter of the police and backed giving officers more funding to fight an ongoing crime wave. I'm sorry, I got Trump and Biden mixed up. What I meant to say was President Biden is a big supporter of the police and backed giving officers more funding to fight an ongoing crime wave. This might come as a surprise to you if this episode weren't already so repetitive. I can't believe I'm only on number 5. Biden's push to give the police more funding comes despite accusations from Republicans that Biden supports defunding the police. But maybe Republicans are right. Maybe Biden's secret plan to defund the police is by giving the police even more funds. Kind of like when a parent gets their kid to quit cigarettes by making them smoke the whole pack. I'm going to sit here and watch you spend every penny until you're sick of it. Speaking of smoking, number 4. Donald Trump was a bit of an enigma when it came to marijuana legalization. At some points he considered it, and other times he seemed adamantly opposed to it. And while Biden's own party seems to be overwhelmingly in favor of legalization, Democratic senators have had conversations with him about it, Biden has historically been against marijuana legalization. Really against it. It's no wonder Trump and Biden are both against weed. They're both so old. The only way to get people their age to support marijuana is by lacing bottles of Metamucil with THC. Get that sticky icky to make their icky less sticky. More after this final break. Welcome back. Number 3. One of the biggest narratives pushed during the 4 years Trump was in office was that he was an authoritarian who mocked the Constitution and didn't even understand it, as he constantly tried to get around its rules. Well, in a story I covered this summer, President Biden is seemingly trying to skirt the First Amendment by having tech companies censor Americans on social media for him. But it's okay when Biden disregards the Constitution because he's trying to fight extremism. Sure, his methods may be extreme, but it's the good kind of extreme. Kind of like how there's good and bad cholesterol. I'm just not sure which one you get from a Twitter egg. Number 2. President Trump had a, let's call it contentious relationship with journalists, going so far as to call certain media outlets enemies of the American people. But as much as Biden has in common with Trump, he's at least polite. He would never attack a journalist just for, okay, yeah, he also attacked a journalist. Just like Trump.
Why are you so confident he'll change his behavior, Mr. President? Yeah, I'm not confident change behavior. What the hell, what do you do all the time? So when did I say I was confident?
Biden later apologized for the outburst, which is one of the few ways he isn't like Trump. And finally, number 1. The Biden administration extended a federal eviction moratorium, a rule that prevents landlords from kicking out renters in a wide range of situations. In fact, Biden extended it 4 times since taking office. But as you've no doubt guessed, it's really just an extension of President Trump's eviction moratorium, which, to be fair, was actually an extension of Congress's original eviction moratorium. The only difference is Biden's most recent extension came after a federal court had ruled in July that extending it would be unlawful, and the Supreme Court indicated the same. Biden defended his action by essentially saying, maybe it's illegal, but it's worth it. Until the Supreme Court finally ended Biden/Trump's eviction moratorium by saying, we already told you it was illegal once. It's still illegal now. If this has you concerned that Biden might do even more illegal things in the future, don't worry. Biden is the president, so he probably thinks he can just pardon himself. And you can guess where he might have gotten that idea from. So if lots of Biden's controversial policies are so similar to Trump's, why isn't he constantly eviscerated by the press? Because unlike Trump, Biden isn't an egotistical, rude bully all the time. So let this be a lesson to future presidents. You can be incompetent, hypocritical, and break as many promises as you want, as long as you're nice about it. So what do you think about Biden being exactly like Trump? Leave your comments below. And remember, America Uncovered is supported mainly by viewers. Be sure to visit patreon.com/AmericaUncovered. Contribute $1 or more per episode. We rely on your support to help us keep making great episodes. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.